Okay, are we live? I think we're live. Yes, we are. We have sound, we have picture, we have art, we have ink, and we have great people out there. Thank you so much for showing up and hanging out today on Wednesday, another Wednesday. I always love it when you guys take time out of your busy schedule to just hang out with me, talk about art, go over technique together. So I'm so excited. Let's see who we have today. So we have Patty. How you doing? Great to see you. Let's see who else we have. We moved the mic a little closer. And let's see who else. We have Blue. How you doing, Blue? Always a pleasure. Mike S., how are you, sir? And we have Mr. Willie. How are you, my friend? And so that is cool. And let's see who else. Mr. John Payne, Total Pain, all the way from upstate New York. Thank you, sir. Raul, how's it going? Good to see you. And Mr. Diekman, all the way from Wisconsin. So glad you're here. And let's see. Mike says he spilled work laptop keyboard, and it won't work. I'm using the old keyboard. Oh, okay. I don't care if your caps are, as long as we hear from you. That's all I care about. So that's cool. And so everyone is here so far. What a great group. That's so exciting. And how's everything going right now? Everyone can hear me well and all of that. You can see me, my hands, all of that. So let's see. I just had some barbecue sauce, so I have a little bit of the sniffles, but that has to do with barbecue sauce, thank God. Diet lemonade. So that's the drink of choice today. Only 10 calories. Not too bad. So I'm going to put my magnets on Ms. Maria here. And this is part 4. So part 4 is always interesting. Yes, I hate when that happens with the sticky keys. I had one keyboard where it was wireless and it would just stop typing for no reason, right in the middle of a sentence. Just, hey, Mr. Roy, how you doing? All the way from sunny New Jersey. So that's exciting. We're getting a cold spell coming up pretty soon here in New Jersey, so that's something to either look forward to or dread, depending on where you're looking at, you know, whether you like the cold or don't like the cold, that sort of thing. Move this over here. So I kind of like the color. I think that's pretty cool. So that's good. And let's see. So we are starting to work darker, right? Let me see if I can bring the picture, Maria. Watch this. Bang! There she is. There's Maria. That's our reference, which is very cool. And we'll put that there so you can see. And let's see what else we're going to do. Okay, so loading the airbrush. So when I get, so it's part 5, right? So that means I did hours 7 and 8 last week. So now these are hours 9 and 10. As we're working in hours 9 and 10, we're slowly getting darker and darker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load one airbrush with my detail mixture. And this is the Xtreme Patriot Arrow. This is my go-to airbrush. It's just so beautiful. I use it all the time. It treats me good. Tone, how's it going? How's everything? Yeah, it's going to go down to the 20s there, Tone. So we're going to get pretty cold. Mr. Nameless, how you doing? Oh, work is rough. I'm so sorry. I know how that feels. Oh, but I'm so glad you're here, my friend. Mr. Sam, how are you, sir? I still got to get that eraser out to you. Please be patient with me, my friend. I'm pretty sure I can get that out to you this week, okay? But thank you so much for your patience. And it's always great to see you, Mr. Sam. And so that's cool. So I'm glad you're here, Nameless. Very cool. The live streams are not the same without you. And so, where's the detail mixture? Here it is. Dun dun dun. Detail mixture. Close up. And so, this stuff is really great. I just can't stress how much it's great. So, what I like to do with this mixture is I like to put 1, 2, 3, 4 drops of the detail mixture. Now here's a new amendment, is then I like to mix. I'm doing okay, Sam, Tone. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to try and go back to getting up at 5 a.m. It's such a challenge for me, you know, because my mind doesn't stop and I'm constantly working. So, yeah, so that's where I am, my friend. Trying to work as much as I want and get up at 5 a.m. I'm so productive at 5 a.m. it isn't funny. You know, it really is something I should. Mr. Paul, how are you, sir? How's everything? And how are your paintings going, sir? So glad to see you. All right, so I mixed this one. Now I'm going to get my other airbrush. And as soon as I find it, this one is my Xtreme Patriot 105. The same modifications as the Xtreme Patriot Arrow, but with this it has a larger cup, so it's great for backgrounds and it's wonderful. Complements the Xtreme Patriot Arrow marvelously. So now I'm going to go ahead. We're going to go a little bit darker. Dun dun dun. We're going to put in the medium mixture in this. So remember, when we get up to hours 7, 8, 9, 10, we really want to have that 2 airbrush thing going, because you don't want to get to the point where you're saying to yourself, even though I don't have the correct mixture in my airbrush, I'm not going to go ahead and clean my airbrush. I'll just try and do it with the mixture I have in the airbrush. And that really is putting a disservice to yourself. You work so hard to get to this point, why go ahead and get in the way of yourself, right? So that's really important. So great to see everybody. Hey, Mr. Brad, how's it going? Good to see you. Remember, when we go into working with the airbrush for the first time, on a painting, or even painting with the airbrush the first time today, you want to make sure, which is crucial, that your airbrush is tuned up. Airbrushes are tuned up, at least my airbrushes are, to exactly the way I want it, because, I'm very particular, as you all should be. This is your artwork, right? So you want to make sure that the airbrush is doing exactly what you want it to do, right? Exactly what you want it to do. Okay. And now we're ready to put this back. So we're not going to use the medium mixture right off the bat. We're going to be using that diluted detail mixture, okay? And we're just going to start working really quick. Hey, Colette, great to see you. How are you today? So that is cool. Colette, all the way from Wisconsin. How cool is that? John Diekman's from Wisconsin as well, which is exciting. And so we have Wisconsin represented tonight, which is great. Always hear good things about Wisconsin. I don't hear bad things about Wisconsin. Cheese is good, right? Cheese is delicious. So what could go wrong with Wisconsin? And you see, we're just going to look at things where it's too light or whatever, and we're just going to move around. So the first thing I'm going to do is just say, okay, where is there a spot where I might be ignoring? And I think this transition tone right here, I'm just going to darken this right here. There we go, just like that. And So right now I'm kind of thinking transition tones in a sense. I'm going to raise my air pressure and also going to make sure that I am not leaving things too hard edge, just softening things up really nice, you know, so that's important. And Nameless says, did we make any decisions on the pillow? Not yet, but what I'm going to do after this week, I'm going to scan my painting, and I'm just going to go in digital and superimpose the pillow and see how that works, you know. So I definitely want to see it in digital first, so this way if it sucks, I could be like, I'm not doing that, rather than start painting it and have to go down that road, right? So we're definitely going to, be very cautious and to see if it works. So I recommend, knowing a lot about digital art in the sense that you can go ahead and test out compositional changes and stuff like that, which really make a big difference in the long run. Oh, cool. So yes. Mike is asking how Blues Lucy is coming out, which is really fantastic. Better than the swamp known as Illinois. Oh, I hear great things about you guys. Have Chicago, right? That's wonderful, Patty. And so I like Illinois. How far are you from Canada, Patty? Oh, great question. Willie asked what program I use, and I use Krita, which is really fantastic. I love it. And so definitely Krita is a wonderful program to use. It's totally free, and it has all the bells and whistles, even more so than Photoshop. There's a learning curve with it, as any program, especially graphic design, but you'll really love it. And let's continue here. Oh, that's the medium mixture, so don't want to do that prematurely. And I'm just going to come here, pull this up, and let's see. Pretty soon I'm going to come in with that medium mixture, but first I just want to get things kind of settled. You have to warm up, right? You can't just go in there guns blazing. You want to make sure that you don't come in cold and start making mistakes that are you're going to be paying for the rest of your painting. So definitely warm up. It's very important. Oh, maybe a day's drive. Okay, cool. That's not too bad. And let's see. So I have right here. It's interesting. There was like a line here. Not sure what happened. Maybe the cat walked on her. I don't know. Walked on my painting. Okay, so let's see what's going on with this airbrush, shall we? Okay, nice flow. I'm going to make sure, one of the things you want to make sure, it's not going to be evident right now, but always make sure when you're pulling down on the trigger that the paint's not coming out. So you see how, and there's no paint coming out, so that's a good thing. So right now I'm just going to deepen some of the darks here. And that's important because as we work from one week to the next, we're getting darker and darker with our darks. And when we get darker and darker with our darks, our midtones get darker, and then our lights get darker, and then our highlights really pop. So that's cool. So it's important to follow the recipe, right? And let's see what we have here. Mike S says, all you artists that don't have a YouTube stream should post your work on Orange Airbrush Forum. It's free and great bunch of fellow artists. Nameless says, Tim, I think that hand could use that's a touch of sharp edges and angles. I know the blurry effect. Yes, so we'll definitely look into that. I'm going to stick with the reference, but we'll see. You might be 100% right, but we just haven't gotten to that. And thanks for your input, Nameless. Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, sometimes I do some, some artistic license, and we'll see if it needs it. And well, that's something that we'll decide. But definitely a good point, sir. Definitely a good point. And we'll just layer this hair here. And so when we're working, we're going to go ahead and we're going to deepen the darks in her eyes again. So let's do that. There we go. Let's see if we can zoom out a little bit. Ah, wrong way. Great. And Blue says that her painting of Lucy came out okay. It's a little better than she thought considering it was your first. Yes, that is. It came out amazing. Beautiful work. Always have your reference front and center. That's so important. As you can see, we're just darkening. And you could lower your air pressure just to make sure that you don't get any spidering. And you see how we darken this, just like so. And then we could come here, darken that eyebrow a little bit. Distance is everything. That's going to give you your value, not how much you pull back on the trigger. It's how far you are from your substrate, paper or canvas, whatever you're working on. And so that's very important. And let's see here. Again, remember I told you you want to use the airbrush, that the mixture that is perfect for what you're working on. So I wouldn't try and do something that the detail mixture is best for, am I right? So you see how we can come in and do some of these really tight little eyelashes. Same thing with down here. Now if you don't see individual eyelashes, and you do see like just a shape like this, an oblong shape, that's what you paint. Don't put in eyelashes because you think, because eyelashes have a stereotypical shape. Don't do that. Make sure that you paint what you see, not what you think you see. What you think you see is going to get you in trouble. And let's see here. Oh, thank you, Blue. Blue says she's coming out beautiful. I appreciate that so much. And you see with this detail mixture that I diluted, how amazing the detail is just wonderful. Just like when you're painting in pastel or oils, there's going to come a point where you get this beautiful texture, surface texture, as you do many layers. We're not there, but we're getting there, and you'll see that you can actually get a surface texture that is really amazing. So as I go further away, you can see how the paint becomes the ink becomes much more fluid. And that's what you want. And so let's pull this over here. There we go. So now we have to work on Oh, thanks, Patty. I appreciate that. Definitely. Always paint what you see because our minds deceive us. Our eyes don't, but our minds do. Going back to the medium mixture and what we do on one eye, everyone knows we have to do on the other eye. So let's make this happen. 1 second rule should always be in effect. It has no exception. As we are darkening this, we're seeing that other areas lighten up, which is really nice. Other areas lighten up and need to be darkened. And distance is your best friend. Make sure you pay attention to your best friend and value that. And that's what distance is in airbrush. There's no magic control formula. No one's going to say, okay, I'm going to teach you how to magically have great detail. Great detail comes from knowing your particular airbrush, knowing air pressure, knowing what you're working with. In this example, my customized airbrush India inks. But you're going to know it also by distance. Distance is the key. Knowing what your airbrush is going to do at a certain distance is really crucial for all of this. It really is. So definitely pay attention to what the airbrush does at 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches, 5 inches, all those different things. I want to come out with a book talking about that, but we'll see how that goes with time. Very nice. I'm going to pull this up and over. There we go. And this is darker on this side. Let's go back to our medium mixture. See how fluid it is going from one mixture to another with the 2 airbrush method? It's really important. It makes a huge difference. Not a little difference, a huge difference. And let's go ahead and darken this eyebrow. Go. And so now you can see that things are starting to get a little richer, and we can zoom out a little bit. Let's see, zoom out, and let's go this way. Zoom out one more. There we go. And let's zoom in. Okay, so you see things are starting to get darker, and we're going to continue going darker in certain areas. Now, I'm not going to be using any kind of friskets or any kind of stencils right now. This painting is going to be completely freehand. And you know, you can do a painting completely freehand. It's not any better than using stencils. But once in a while you just might feel that you want that painting to have more emotion, more life to it, and you might decide, like I'm doing today, of being more free-handed. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no right answer. There's no wrong answer. Depending, if you want a very slick, clean look, then by all means you're going to go ahead and work, you know, with a lot of stencils, keeping everything clean, and that's cool. See, you have hard shadows here, and then you have soft lights. So And those are things you want to pay attention to. What are the shadows doing? What are the lights doing? Are the shadows harder than the lights? Are the lights harder than the shadows? And you know, are there details in the shadows? Are there details in other areas? So those are all considerations you want to be asking yourselves as you paint. Right now I'm just darkening the values a little bit. And always reminding myself not to go ahead and do something with the media mixture that I should do with the detail mixture. You don't want to do that, okay? And let's see what we have here. And we're just going to continue over here. And let's keep going down here. And we're just going to keep moving here. Let's do that. Okay, so you see things are deepening up a little bit. And now I'm going to move down here, make sure, and all this is on the same page. And as I come in with the media mixture, you're going to see that we're able to come in with deeper colors in the lights. Oh, Patty says she likes our hair. Thank you, Patty. That's amazing. I appreciate that so much. Thank you. One second rule, okay? Make sure you're paying attention to the shapes, staying really focused, okay? Focus is so important. So those of you who are out there who haven't hit the subscribe button yet, go ahead and subscribe. It's really great because I do a lot of things and you never know. Sometimes I'll have like an impromptu live stream and I may talk about digital painting and it's important to airbrush, or I also send out emails to subscribers and stuff like that. So if you haven't subscribed, go ahead. It's in your best interest because at the very least I have one live stream every week, and I'm the only live stream out there that goes from the beginning to end consistently. Every project, every portrait consistently from beginning to end with no gaps. So you learn my method of how to paint and you learn it from beginning to end. So it's not disjointed, it's not showing you the end, or just showing you the beginning. So you can go from the very beginning to the end, you know, which is really great. No, I'm actually, Mike, I'm not going to post to another website, you know. I'm basically, you know, this is my live stream, so I'm not going to post to somebody else's live stream where they have it. Unless they're a friend of mine, that's different. So don't expect me, guys, to go ahead and post to Orange Airbrush or to this or that. I'm just not going to do it. So, you know, no disrespect. My guess is just it's very important that, you know, if you want to be part of a good group, go ahead and go to Ink Flingers, which is really great. We talk about ink and airbrush and everything like that. So we just stay on the page of what we're doing tonight. And so, Blue, thank you so much. I appreciate that. How's everything? And I really appreciate the support. So Blue has been such a great support to the channel. I really appreciate that, and I don't take it lightly. And so it's very exciting to see Blue and how she's growing as an artist and an airbrush artist. So I really, really appreciate that. Okay, so uh, thank you so much, Blue, and uh, it means a lot to me. I just want you to know that from the bottom of my heart. And no, I understand, Mike. It's a posting site, but I'm not. I'm not going to. I mean, if you guys want to say whatever you want to say, and give each other, tips on, this forum or that forum, that's cool. That's the whole thing about our group. We can talk about anything, right? So that's important. I want it to be very loose and everything, but I'm definitely not going to be posting someone else's unless they're a friend, and then I'll talk about their. But I don't know these Orange website people and everything, so I'm not about to go ahead and promote them. But it's cool, I'm going to check it out because you said to check it out, and I'll do that. But this stuff all costs money, camera equipment, internet, uh, programs, and all that. So I don't know Orange Forum, and I wish them well, but I'm just not gonna. I'm not gonna go ahead and uh, you know do something like that unless they're totally friends. So put it this way, Mike. If you had a website or you had a chat, I'd be like, check out Mike S's, because you're a friend, right? You and I are friends. So I would be, Mike, definitely, 100% check out Mike's website. It's really cool. I remember when you you told me about that airbrush you made. You're a friend of the channel. I went ahead and shown everyone how great it was, and that was very cool. So it's all about friends and closeness here. So no, don't be sorry for asking. That's okay. And Brad, how's it going? Good to see you, and thank you so much for the super chat. That means so much, and thank you for the support and helping this little baby channel. I mean, we have enough trouble keeping this channel afloat, right? After 8 years, I only have 3,890 subscribers. So we're a little tiny channel, and we're struggling to survive. But it's great people like Blue and Brad, and who give the super stickers, and Paul, and people who buy the inks and the airbrushes really keep this afloat, and I appreciate it. I really do. I really love talking to you guys about art, and it means a lot to me, and you all mean a lot to me. I look forward to Wednesday nights all the time. All the time I look forward to Wednesday nights, and so it's very important that I let you all know how important it is. Without you, there would be no live stream, because I doubt I would continue doing it if you all weren't here. Honestly. Right, exactly, and I think it's great, but I'm not going to sponsor them. I don't know anything about them. I'm not going to. That's just, my opinion. If, like I said, if one of my friends comes on here and they're saying, "Hey, how you doing? That's great," I'm going to always go ahead and I'm going to say, check out his live stream. It's really good. I know him. I can endorse it, right? And it's a mutual, how do you say? It's a very mutual, symbiotic relationship. And Benny, how's it going? Benny says, "Hi Tim, always watch your videos later in the week. This is the first time watching." Oh, that's so great. Oh, it's 2 in the morning. What an honor to hang out with you. And thank you for staying up to 2 o'clock in the morning. That's fantastic. That is great. So thanks, Benny. And I've talked to you on, when you left a comment. So it's great to see you finally get to talk to you, which is amazing. No, I think people should go ahead and check out the forum, but I don't know them. I don't know the head of it. Why would I endorse it, right? Why would I endorse it? I think the main thing is we need to be talking about the painting and not get off topic. So let's go ahead but you guys talk and hang out, which is really great, talk about anything. But as for me, I have to concentrate on this, not some forum I have nothing to do with. Oh, great. So, how you doing, Chokwi? How's everything? So, saludos de Mexico. All right. So cool to see you. How are you today, sir? And so we're just going to continue. So as you see, as I'm darkening, things are starting to get richer very slowly. And once again, Brad, thank you so much for that super sticker. I mean, that super chat. That is so great. It just goes such a long way. So here's a case in point. I have the medium mixture here, and I was going to go ahead and go in with the lips, but that would have been a mistake, and I'll tell you why. Because it's a better job for the detail mixture. And I don't want you to miss this. I'm giving you some really great information. One of the big golden nuggets that you really should know is when you use a detail mixture, if you weren't paying attention early, if you go ahead and dilute the detail mixture, you'll even get even more detail. More detail than any combination of airbrush and paint out there. So definitely pay attention to these little nuggets. They're really important. Oh, so Mike says, how do you keep the same amount of blurriness over the whole hand of this image? We just build it up, Mike, that's important. So we slowly build it up. Keep the edges soft. You don't want them ever to be too hard edged. That means we'll have to erase. So we want to make sure we keep that from happening. So from the beginning, we're going to really have our mind set as to what's important, what characteristics are important to the painting as a whole, but also the painting in individual areas. Okay, so that's so crucial. And as you can see here, I'm doing the 1 second rule. And so that's important. So you see, right now I'm doing the 1 second rule. Now I'm going to bring those values where they need to be. But look how much more effective it is with the detail mixture. If I went in, so let's say you decided to go in with the medium mixture, it wouldn't be horrible, but the thing is you would get too dark too early before you were able to go ahead and perhaps kind of work on some of the texture of the skin, right? So Mike says, so basically freehand the whole hand from an inch or so away. Very good question. So yes, so the distance is very important. So the distance would definitely vary depending on where you are. I'm going to go back into the hand and we'll look at that together. So that's a great question. Thank you. And hey Eric, how you doing? Eric got his airbrush today and he'll be running some ink through it tonight. Ah, fantastic. So here's the thing, Eric. I send you a video via email on how to put that airbrush together. But when you're doing a detail mixture, do 4 drops of detail mix and then put 3 drops of water. Mix that up really good with a little paintbrush right in the cup. And then go ahead and spray that. You're going to see you're going to have great detail, 25 psi. And you just play with the pack valve and get that, get that really nice air pressure and detail. You're going to love it. Any questions, you let me know. Eric just bought just received one of these Xtreme Patriot arrows, the customized version from me. So let's go back to the hand, because Mike was asking a very good question here. So we're going to, let me see how we can zoom out. Let's see how this works. Okay, let me see if I just darken that a bit. See if I can zoom out a little more. Well, let's say like with these fingers here. So distance plays a very crucial role. So I would say when I'm doing the lighter areas, like right here, I would say I'm about 6 inches away, right? When I'm doing the darker, I would say I'm about 4 inches away. And when I'm also building up the darks, like in between the space of these two hands, I might come in a little bit close, but not too close, because you want to maintain that soft edge, right? And so if you were, let's say, going too close, you would have a hard edge, and you would lose that soft edge. So I would never go closer than maybe 2 inches away when I'm doing something like this. And Eric says the link he sent, oh yes, which is really cool. And so that's cool. Yeah, so that's the link when someone buys the Xtreme Patriot Arrow. I go ahead and I have a video that shows them how to actually set it up for the first time, which is really great. Just to tune this wonderful airbrush up, right? Which is really cool. Oh, thank you. Patty says her airbrush, her Xtreme Patriot Arrow, the customized version, a little over the year, and she still loves it. That makes me happy. So thank you so much for that testimony. I appreciate it. So let's zoom out and you'll see that hand. Let's see. And we'll zoom in. So basically with this hand, I'm just slowly building up, and then I'm going to erase. But now that I have, and it's good you said that, now that I have the medium mixture, I can go ahead and kind of accentuate some of the darker areas, right? And that's going to bring that hand up a little bit, you know, kind of make it look like it's coming towards us a little bit more. And right over here. So I know I like using freehand shields, but right now I'm trying to keep everything kind of loose and kind of wispy. So that's one of the reasons why you're not seeing me use a freehand shield very much in this particular lesson. And let me fix the focus there. Okay, and lighten it up. There we go, that's much better. And okay, so now we darkened up some areas. Let's see if we can actually start working on some of the lights. And oh, you didn't, okay, so now let me go ahead and I'll get that to you later this evening, okay, my friend? As soon as the live stream's over, I'll get that over to you. So I'll send it via email, okay? Oh, Patty says, oh, you will catch up. Have a great night, Patty. Don't work too hard. I know you have to get up early. And oh, thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. Thanks for the word of encouragement. That you know, I help you know, people with the Xtreme Arrow set it up. So I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. So now what we're going to do, I have my detail mixture, and we're just going to kind of work in some of the lights now. So the forehead is a good case in point. Since everything else is much darker, I think now we'll see how much darker we can go in the light areas. So let me focus this. Great. And so have a great night, Patty. Hey, Denise, how you doing? Great to see you. How are you? Oh, that is so cool. What a nice surprise. And so what I'm doing is just working on those darks a little bit. So that's cool. So how's life in the big city, Denise? And we're just going to darken this. see. And we're just going, so right here above the eyebrow, it's a little darker. So what we're doing now is, as we're slowly darkening, we are darkening, but we're also creating skin texture, which is really going to work well once we start coming in with other varieties of value. And as you get darker, you go over that texture, and you really have this wonderful feeling of skin. And that's what you want, right? Oh, that's great. I love the Upper East Side. That's what the Met is, as you know, right? So definitely. So yes. So that's very cool. So I'm going to send you that, Eric, and so that's going to be very helpful. Okay. And if you have any questions setting that up, we can definitely meet up, right? So no problems. I'm going to darken this value right over here. So you see she's kind of frowning, so she has these little frown lines here. So I'm making sure I'm putting that in. And oh yes, I love the Met too. I mean, that's my home away from home, as you know. And oh, you're going to the gala. Oh my God, that's amazing. Wow, that's going to be a lot of fun. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I always see all the people get dressed up, you know, when I was going to art school right around the corner. And the galas are always amazing. So that's going to be a great experience. Mark! Mr. Webb, how are you today? Good to see you, sir. Oh, definitely have to. Yes, I miss the Mets so much. Oh, thanks. So Denise says she learns when she goes to the Met with me. She learns a lot about you know, the paintings and everything. I'm like a walking art history encyclopedia. Thanks for that. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Oh, it's a gala for Pride. That's very cool. Oh, man. So that's going to be... Are you going to post pictures on your Facebook? So I can't wait to see. That's going to be amazing. And since you're only a couple blocks from your house, you go to the gala. Before you know it, you're home. 1, 2, 3. No traffic. Isn't that amazing? So that's really cool. Oh, wow. That's excellent. So are you off this week or next week? Your spring break. And we're just going to continue coming down here like this. And so you see how we're working on that skin texture and also darkening things up. So we'll come right here. There we go. And we're just going to very slowly darken things up. And we can always adjust, but right now we're having a good time putting in all this skin texture. And 2 blocks away, you cannot beat that. Oh yes, and definitely I want to see those pics. That's going to be amazing. I love how they take the Met and turn it into like something totally different during those galas. You know, they move all the stuff, you know, move stuff and block it off. It's really amazing. Wow, so you're giving extra vacation days. That is cool. That's one good thing that came from the pandemic, or one plus, right? And as you can see, like right here, we have this little halo around the finger. Whoop, I gotta pull out here. Whoa, right over here. So I'm working on the hand, and we'll zoom in. So you see there's a little halo right here, if you look at the photo, and that comes up just like so. And so we just have to pay attention to the 1 second rule to make sure we get that. So that halo is going to be crucial. Where it stops, where it starts, how it's dark in the center over here, how you have a halo in this direction, right? Those are going to be important considerations to really get that hand to look like it's doing that. Oh wow, Chelsea Gear. Oh, that's Chelsea Pier. I went on a cruise ship from there, one of those day cruises to go around New York City. So that's cool. Oh, yes, Brad. One day when you come to New York, that's going to be a place we'll go, sir. We'll definitely go to the Met. Yeah, the Met's amazing. I mean, just how much I learn every time I go and get inspired, right? It's just so incredible. And so now we're working on that hand. You see this little spot right here? It's a little hot, so I just want to calm it down. So your distance will, will dictate how far you go away. And so look at all this like real fuzziness. Since I'm here, it's a little dark right here in the trachea, right? And then we'll just come over here, get this fuzziness right over here. 1 second rule is going to be absolutely key, And Mike S. said, I wish we could make the video larger and still keep the chat window. Yeah, exactly. So the chat window took too much away. But it was fun when we did the chat window, right, Mike? That was fun. So I did enjoy that. So there's a new thing coming out with the, which is really cool. A new thing's coming out with Livestream. If you ask a question, it'll pop up on the screen so everyone can see it, which is really cool. And John says, yes, you can if you have 2 monitors. Very true. 2 monitors and 2 computers is definitely a key, right? That's for sure. I'm going to go ahead and shape this lip. It's a little higher. So when you're working, if you have to make a change, don't be afraid to make a change, right? Don't be afraid to. But if it's too big of a change, you might have to live with the mistake for the painting's sake. Done is better than perfect, and that is so true even with paintings. So you're still learning. You knew that, you made a mistake, but the thing is, you're not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. So you're going to make sure that if you make a change, if it's going to be detrimental to the painting as a whole. Oh, Tone says it's great on a 40-inch TV, but you're home tonight on a phone. That makes a big difference, right? Oh my God, yeah, big screen TV to on the phone. Big, huge difference. I have this this knock eraser, which is by Mono. It's really nice. It's not too aggressive, right? So we can do some really nice changes here. And I could zoom out a little bit, which is nice because I have the 10 to 18 zoom lens. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start shaping some of this light here. And I like to do a circular motion. And what that does, it keeps things from being too linear. Oh, thank you. So Denise says I have a pretty good setup. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, that's something, as you know, that was built up over time, right? Little at a time here and there, And still, there's so much I want to do, Denise, as far as all new, new electronics and stuff. But I always do it little at a time. That's the best way to do it, right, Denise? And Mark says, play on TV button at bottom. It's great. Oh, cool. And so Mike S. says, just figured out how to zoom in and zoom out on Firefox. Excellent. Very excellent. And what we're doing here, we're just going to continue coming down a little bit and just really working on the texture. So you see how as I'm slowly darkening and then I could lighten it a little bit and put in some texture and detail, and now that's going to work for our benefit. So where I want to get a little tighter detail, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to look for a different eraser, and what I'm looking for is the Mono, But oh, look at that. So that's cool. So I have the mono here. So for tighter areas, I'm going to use that just like so. And oh, thank you, Denise. Yes, it's my passion. It's my obsession. And you know, as you know, it's a very important thing what makes me tick. And so you see how we're working that out. And if you zoom out, you can see it maybe in better context. And once we come in with the white pastel, and then we also, so we have the white pastel, which is going to be good, and then we have the dark mixture to pull in those darks like pop, you know. And Mike says, hey, there's an old Chevy, I had it figured out years ago. Oh, I see. Yeah, because you're wonderful at cars, but you're very good with the airbrush as well. Don't negate that. So you see, I'm actually working on refining shapes and everything like that, which is really important. And we'll just continue this over here like this, and right over here. Pull this down, and just over here, very light pressure, right? Very super light pressure. Remember, lighter pressure, lighter effectiveness, right? And Blue says, gotta go everyone. Oh, have a great night, Blue. Thank you so much for the super sticker. And always a pleasure, and I will talk to you soon. And so that's cool. Mark says, TV is depressing to the soul. Lately it seems to be, right? You know? So I definitely echo that sentiment. But thank God we have YouTube, right? We want to learn about anything. I've been teaching myself. Hey, Mr. Leahy, how's it going? Good to see you. Better late than never. How are you, sir? So, so here's like things I will endorse. Since Steve's a friend, I'll just tell you guys. Steve Leahy, Monday nights from 6 to 9. He has a live stream on Facebook. He's fantastic. Shares a lot of amazing information. So definitely check him out, okay, guys? Yes, TV and yeah, social media can get depressing, right, Denise? Definitely, we have to watch that and always find, like, in social media, what are the positive things. And one of the things, Steve Leahy's live stream is very positive, so definitely check him out. I think it's I think he's on Steve Leahy on Facebook, and you can just find him that way, and or just friend him on Facebook, and I think you'll get an alert when he has a live stream. But they're always Mondays at 6 o'clock Eastern time, usually about 2 hours, and he gives away artwork. So that's a win-win, right? I find that's a win-win. So yes, and I agree, Denise. It's hard to, you know, watch TV, but I'm teaching myself photography on a very deep level and learning about light. And you know what? With the library and with YouTube, I'm learning a lot. I'm learning so much, which is so exciting, you know? And oh no, Mike, Steve always comes. He's always around here. So it's always wonderful to see Mr. Leahy. And Benny says, have to go. Benny, thank you so much for hanging out. It means so much to me. And I just want to let you know that I'm honored that you came by at 2 o'clock in the morning to hang out, and always ask a question in the stream or email me. I'll be always happy to answer, you know. Oh, thank you, Denise. Denise says she loves this Maria portrait. Thank you. That means a lot to me. Thank you so much. I'm enjoying it. You know, I'm enjoying how slow she's coming. You know, there's no no rush, taking my time, and really, really love enjoying the process with everybody. So important. And hopefully, in a small way, I can inspire you all to continue to create and to not ever limit yourself because you're afraid how it comes out. It's going to come out great. And you know what? Every painting's a stepping stone, right? Every single painting is a stepping stone. So that's important. Yes, Steve's also on Instagram. I'm not on Instagram too much, so I don't know too much about Instagram. I have an Instagram channel, but I'm more of a Facebook kind. Yeah, Facebook, and also I like YouTube, as you can see right here, right? And oh, okay. Well, no, that's cool. I know how it is to have to work a lot, you know. Work kind of builds up, you know, as artists, you know. Some days I think, oh, I have some time free, and I'm like, oh, I have 2 classes, and I have to ship out an airbrush, and I have to make some inks. So like, yeah, so a day could really get away. Ah, thank you so much there, Steve. Steve says he's a big fan. That means a lot to me. That means a great deal to me, Steve. Thank you. Really appreciate that. And so we'll just continue this. Just working on, see how I'm working on the texture, you know? And, you know, not getting caught up if it doesn't look like her yet, or maybe I'm not at the stage I want to be. It's just like when we're making cookies, right? We want to make sure that we're letting it cook. We're letting things happen slowly, right? We definitely don't want to force things or rush things. We want to go slowly. So if I want to lighten this up, I can just really go super lightly with my eraser. I mean, really just glide it over the surface. And you'll be surprised at the variety and uh, the different gradations you can get from just erasing. Really, it's really cool, and that's important. So, and and so Denise says, Brad, Tim and I know each other. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. No, yeah. So Denise and I went to the same high school, so we go way back, definitely. And but let me see. Let's see what everyone said here. Do do do. Cool. Well, thank you. I think you're exceptional as well, Denise. Denise is a very talented writer and a very great teacher. So she has a lot of amazing talents and gifts. Really cool to know her and be her friend. So important. And so the whole thing about texture, right? That's the Oh wow, that would be cool. Yes, Upper East Side. That's where the money is, right? A lot of old money on the Upper East Side. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on down here. Just get some texture. I'm going with a little more of an aggressive eraser. And you see how we can start to kind of layer as we get lighter. I can have more of an aggressive eraser, use more texture, and now I could actually get layers of texture and value, which is really amazing. So that's cool. If anyone has an old wire record holder, I'll take it. So an old wire record holder, so what exactly is that? That's interesting. And so right here is a slight tiny white on her eye. That may be a a job for the Fonz and Porter, but we'll attempt it first with the good old-fashioned eraser. And we're going to work on our angles. Angles are so important, and so let's make sure we do that together. Oh, so here we go with the detail mixture. We're going to zoom in on her lips. I'm just going to make sure I get that shape correctly, and let's focus together. I always lose my focus here, so with the camera, since, what is my, I think it's pretty close, so I can lose the focus on the camera pretty quickly. So I just have to make sure I adjust that so you can see. So this is very important for the character of Maria here. Again, we're doing texture, both going darker and lighter at the same time, right? Moving around both directions, which is great. And that's how we slowly get to where we want to be, right? And thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, I remember they used to be my favorite gallery in the Upper East Side when I was going to the National Academy like 100 years ago. It was called the Shepherd Gallery. And it was so amazing because they sold 19th century European paintings and drawings. So I was able to go there and just drool over the work of some of these amazing painters who were long gone, and they were selling the paintings. And I almost got a job there, but just before I moved to Florida, my parents moved to Florida, so I had to move to Florida. Well, I wanted to be with my parents, and that was in the 90s, but I almost had a job there. And so that's interesting. And Mike says Tim needs to do a video series of him painting a wall mural or ceiling. That may be very interesting to watch. Now, who would be painting a wall? Oh, me painting a wall? That would be cool. Or a church ceiling. It's hard for me to get bigger than 8 by 12 by 16. I don't really work big that often. I've always had small spaces, right? So that usually has been a lot of the limitations of me. So yeah, one day I would love to do something like that, Mike. Yes, I would definitely need funding to keep myself alive during a project like that. Because stuff like that, you can't have anything else going. Otherwise, that mural could take like 16 years. And I think I'll be too old in 16 years. Nope, I'm not going to be. I'm going to be painting well into my 90s. Oh, my art studio wall. That's an idea, definitely. And Brad says Tim has taken his art to new level. Thank you. I wouldn't. Oh, thank you for that vote of confidence there, Mr. Brad. I appreciate that so much. And let's come over here. So now what we're going to do, since we were working on that, let's go ahead and start doing some detail in the hair, right? So we have a lot of detail to do in the hair. Yes, exactly. So Denise does do murals. She does like wonderful landscapes and trees and everything, which is really excellent. So I'm going to take my aggressive eraser here. I'm going to do the 1 second rule, and I'm just going to start very lightly erasing in some of the hair. Now when you're doing this, the crucial thing is to make sure you get the distance correct, right? Distance is everything. Not distance, forgive me. Get the direction of the hair, right? It's so important. Just bring this over like that. So that direction is so important. That's right. That would be a good thing, right? I would do the people and you do the backgrounds. Exactly. Ah, thanks, Tone. One day to work that big, that would be a challenge for me because I don't really work big that often. I've done some paintings that are 48 inches, but never on a large scale. Not for many years at least. So as you can see, lighter pressure, we can go ahead and do uh, lighter values when we work on this on her hair. You don't have to be perfect, but you have to get the general shape of the hair, right? You want to get, how the mass of the hair is being affected by the light, right? So think of the hair first as a shape, right? And then you go ahead and you do the values of the shape, how that shape is being affected by the light. And then at that point, you want to go ahead and do after you do that, then you go ahead and you shape it until you get to the point where you start painting individual hairs. But that comes way later. So think of the hair as a helmet first, and then after the helmet, that's when you would go ahead and start painting hair, because it is a helmet, it is a large mass, and you want to make sure that you get that down first. And so little by little we're getting there with Miss Maria here. There we go. And pull this up. There we go. And let's see what we have here. Mike S says, does this art seem lighter to me than some of Tim's others, or is it? Well, we're still in that one stage where we haven't really gotten to that deep dark stage yet, Mike, but we'll get there slowly. So I'm building up very slowly. This is a very low-key painting, meaning that the lights and dark values are pretty close to one another. There's a lot of midtones. So the approach is going to be a little more gradual than if she was, let's say, very high-key, where there was a large dynamic range from your darkest dark to your lightest lights, right? So different approach, slightly different approach. I would say not different pragmatically, but different in the sense that, maybe going a little slower. And so you see how I can very slowly just build on this dark here. And again, you want to make sure that we do the large areas and make sure that we get the direction of the hair. That's super crucial. Once we start coming in with the white pastel, things will start to pop even more. So everything is pretty much setting up for crescendo, and we haven't gotten to that crescendo yet, but we're building up slowly. Like Ravel's Bolero. Anyone out here remember Ravel's Bolero? And so let's see. And oh, thanks, Mike. It is lighter, but we haven't really got there yet. But yeah, we are lighter at this stage. Tone says this is the fourth stage. He hasn't gone past the medium mix. True. When we do several layers of the medium mix, it's going to start to come in together. And so you'll see that, it just takes time. Some paintings take longer to cook, right? So that's something to, in every painting, Mike, is so true. And I know you know this on your own work. Every painting has its own little life force, doesn't it? And Denise says, I use other mediums. Very true. And Tone says, it looks like it could be finished for a lot of artists. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. But we're working on those layers, right? Just building those layers slowly. and working for the payoff, right? For me, when I take my time and kind of relax and sort of let it happen, it's much better. A lot of times when I'm working with a student, I'm forced to slow down. And so being forced to slow down, I take my time, and I really like when I get outside of myself and my normal mode of working as far as speed. It really helps me to uh, really see things a lot clearer. That's why those of you out there who teach, it's so important because it reinforces our own fundamentals and fortifies our convictions and even changes it because we're seeing things in a fresh perspective because our students are learning it for the first time. And to me, that's a really big advantage to artists that teach or anyone that teaches any discipline. It really makes such a big difference in your own work. So that's very, very important. And you can see I can come a little bit wider in her jaw. So I'm just going to paint that just like so. Pull that over. And let's see what I missed. Oh, Denise says Tim is excellent on paints, not just airbrush. One of the toughest pastel paintings. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, pastel is my kind of first art love, right? I've been doing pastels for many years. I don't want to date myself and talk about just how many years, but a lot of years. Oh, thanks. Steve says don't forget to hit the like button. I appreciate that, my friend. Tone says he picked up quite a few tips from him on equipment and techniques. Oh, okay. So I don't know if you're talking about me or Steve, but thank you on both counts, Tone. Yeah, Steve, what I learned from Steve, a couple of really cool things. Working with magnets. He is a master of magnets. My goodness, that was a big jump for me. Thank you, Steve, for that. Steve and his ability to cut, wow, just out of this world. He is a master with an X-Acto knife. Just ridiculous skills there. So I had to up my game, of course, after seeing how good Mr. Steve was. And just so many other things on how he looks at certain aspects. It's just fantastic. So definitely check out Steve Leahy's live stream. Just incredible. And you're going to learn something. That's for sure. And Denise says she loves my pastels. Thank you. I appreciate that. My guest says been up for 12 hours and feel like I've been up 36. Mine is all messed up tonight. You just take your time and relax, and that's pretty cool. And thank you, Steve. I appreciate that, sir. Yes, but always learn stuff from Mr. Steve Leahy, that's for sure. And so definitely check that out. Gerald Mendez is out of this world. Oh boy, isn't he something, Steve? Mr. Mendez, just a super nice guy. I don't know anyone doesn't like Gerald, right? Is he not the nicest guy ever? So I really enjoy all my conversations with Mr. Gerald Mendez, so that's cool. And thank you, Steve. That's wonderful to hear. That's humbling, and thank you for that. If I can teach Mr. Leahy something, that means that's a lot because he knows quite a bit already. So he's a master in his own right. So that means a great deal to me. And so I'm going to slightly lighten. So, it's interesting. So when I'm learning in photography is that, due to certain light modifiers that a photographer will use, the shadows will have a certain look. And from learning about light modifiers, I'm actually able to identify what what modifier they used in this particular photo shoot, and then I can see the shadows a lot better, and I can anticipate some of the effects that those light modifiers will have on said subjects, right? And in the photograph, which just makes a world of difference. It really does. Makes a super world of difference. And so we're just building things up, but knowing that, you know, if you have, let's say, a larger modifier, you know, a larger softbox that's close to the subject, you're going to have softer edges, right? Because it's larger, it's wrapping around. So those are things to look forward, you know, always when we're painting with anything, always look at things from different angles. It's really gonna help, you know, always see things from in a new way, in a new perspective. That's so important. Javier Soto's a great guy, yes, not like him a lot. So love Javier, so he's fantastic. And who else is I really enjoy out in the airbrush world? Oh, Kent Lind. Everyone knows I love Kent Lind. He's a great guy. Very, very cool person to hang out with. And so Steve is, not Steve, Kent is a predominantly t-shirt artist. And he's just amazing to watch. The control. But notice with, you know, Mr. Kent Lind, it's all about distance, right? And you'll see you know, that's so important, you know. Practice, practice, practice. Yes, that's so important. So you have to put in the time, right? There's no way around it. And so that's basically what I always say, you know. You know, you get as good as someone like Steve Leahy for all the time, all those hours when no one's looking. He's in the studio just chugging along for years and years, and that's when you get to that level, you know. I think it was Beethoven that said that if we delve into our art long enough and for, you know, as much as we can, that, you know, she will reveal her secrets. So I think that's so true. And Kent is one of the reasons I got. Oh wow, that's great. Yeah, yeah. Kent's live streams are really cool. I wish he would do more, but now he's doing TikTok. So he's doing great things with TikTok, and so that's important. And oh, so yours too, Steve. That's cool. I mean, Tone. So that's really neat. Yeah, I mean, his control is just ridiculous. Kent Lynn's, you know, he was one of the first people who talked to me when I first got into the airbrush back in 2011. And they would look at me and say, what are you doing, a fine artist going into airbrush, right? And I was like, I just love it. I think it's a really cool medium. I want to explore it in my own way. And everybody was just super, super supportive of me back then, which I really appreciate it. Really appreciate that. And you see how the light, there's some light in these dark shadows. And so you can see we're starting to get some of the detail in the darks. And then right here is interesting. It's sort of, you know, this little bit of a cheekbone kind of escapes up here, going into the orbital ridge here. There we go. And you can see where I'm making some mistakes earlier, there's more, the shadows are softer, right? So being softer means there's more light in those shadows. So this person's using a softbox most likely, and it's large and it's kind of wrapping around. And when the light wraps around like so, it it actually follows the shadow and puts detail in those shadows, in those shadow areas. Let's see what I missed. And yes, TikTok is amazing, definitely. Uh, I heard good things about Ryan Townsend, definitely. Uh, Mike S says Javier's Killer Clown. I remember that one. That was a while ago, yeah. And Ryan was doing a mermaid last time. Steve Leahy says, all right, love, capping off a 13-hour day with some ink flinging. Oh, man, you have a great night, my friend. Well-deserved rest. Don't work too hard tomorrow. One day closer to the weekend. Of course, us artists, we don't know weekends. Weekends really don't exist for us. But I hope you have some fun over the weekend, Mr. Steve. Thank you so much for hanging out tonight. Always an honor. And once again, make sure you check out his work. It's incredible. And you also get a chance to win one of his paintings. So that alone is worth the price of admission, right? Unbelievable. We're just going to come over here. So you see, we're just building this. Oh, look at the white of the eye over there. So let's go into the white of the eye. And we'll go down. Oh, wrong way, Tim. There we go. And you can see that I'm way too light with the white of the eye. So I'm just going to, I'm in the detail mixture again. See that? So we'll just do that. And let's see what else we have here. Yes, exactly, Steve. The weekends are for other people, not for us. and and Denise says, your reference artists in art and music. Seriously, if you were to visit New York City, get Tim to be your tour guide to art museums. People actually paid attention and followed us around at the Met and Frick. Yes, remember the Michelangelo exhibit? Um, they they kept listening to what I was saying. I thought that was funny. I turn around, I don't realize that there's a little crowd behind me when I'm expounding on, let's say, the life of an artist or the significance of this particular painting or that particular sculpture. It's my life's work, you know. When you look at it that way, it's not as impressive, you know. It's what I've been doing my whole life, you know. But I just love it so much. So it's so much fun to talk about it and be in my element, right? That's what I do. You know, like in that Good Will Hunting, you know. It's just something I always could just play, you know. It's just something I could always do. And but yeah, I remember when I first took art history, I was so amazed that there was so much information about all these different artists and art history and uh, the art movements and how it had to do with the period of the time, political rumblings, all this different thing, reaction from, let's say, the last 50 years. It's so great to see art in that context. Yes, an ink flinger field trip, definitely. As soon as the this horrible pandemic calms down, we should do like a field trip to see our friend over at Badger. That would be great. We'd all hang out, have a little ink flingers convention, go to hang out with Ken over at Badger, check out the Art Institute and some of the artwork there. That would be a lot of fun, definitely. That's funny, yes. A lot of people were following us around. It's so hilarious. It's so funny. When I hear like the tour guides who are actually paid and they're just talking about things that I feel are not as important in context of the artist, I'm like, ugh, not a very good experience. You know, you can't fake passion, right? If you're passionate about something, we're going to know everything about it, or at least have like intense insights on it, right? So I've been working on that. So let's go ahead and let's see if we could. So this is part 5. We're getting pretty close to starting with some of the white pastel. But before we do, let's go ahead and darken up some areas here. Let's see, where can we, well, right here we can definitely soften this up. So I'm just going to soften up this area. And I'm going to soften up some of these shadows. I'm going to be about 6 inches, 8 inches away. And I'm just going to smooth out some of the areas that we erased earlier. And bring this down. And make sure we get those transition tones. And remember, the further you're away, the softer the gradations you're going to get, which is just amazing. Oh, cool. So Tone says he's in. That's cool. So that's great. That would be really cool, like just like an Ink Flingers convention, right? Even if it's in New York or you know, maybe more centralized like Chicago or St. Louis. That would be neat, to say the least. Oh, Denise says she can plan a field trip. That's so cool. I appreciate that. Yes, and well, it has to be the artist that I do love, of course. So, you know, if it's 19th century French painting or 17th century Dutch painting, I'm your man, right? And even the paintings of the Renaissance, you know, like Michelangelo, Raphael, Bronzino, those guys. I know so much about them, you know, it's about their lives. You know, you read so many books on them. It's almost like you know these artists, even though they've been gone for, what, 600 years? Oh my God, no, not 600 years. Well, some, like 1500, 2000, yeah, about 500, about around 500. And then my other favorite artists, like Angela David from the neoclassical period, they're gone, oh my God, so you're looking at about 1820. So Angela's gone over 100 years. Wow, that's unbelievable. And hey, Craig, Brave Eagle, how you doing? Good to see you. Is this the first time I got to see you? So glad you're here. Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate it. Remember earlier I adjusted this lip. I might have to readjust that. Maybe I was a little premature with making it bigger, but it's so easy to fix, so that's no problem. Let's bring this dark down. And Nameless says, Ink Flinger Sketch Safari. That's so cool. That's a great idea. I would love that. You know, see, the good thing, so God says, do not despise the day of small beginnings, right? That's what it says in the Bible. And I think that's true. See, right now we're a small group. Right now we only have 9 people here. And there's a real advantage to a small group because, you know, we get to know each other. You know, just a lot of advantages that if I was really a huge group, you would rarely get to get a question in and I wouldn't get to know everybody. So with a small group, we can even set up one day, like you say, Ink Flingers Safari or something like that. That would be neat. That would be so cool. And so it's good to see. Oh, thank you, Craig. I appreciate that. The encouragement is very, very appreciated. Thank you. And so that is neat. And so, yeah, Ink Flinger's picnic basket. That's really cool. And so now, see, I'm darkening everything. Other areas need to be darkened as well. Like I would say right here in her neck. Now notice in her neck how much darker it is in her face. It's because there's called drop off, that the light is much more powerful closer. So her face is probably, I would say, maybe 6 inches closer than her neck, and you can see how much darker that is, because even 6 inches when the light is close is actually going to make a big difference. So you are seeing the difference of just from the face, the chin to the neck is a huge difference, a huge drop off. So I'm just going to stick with the program. I'm not going to worry about how it's coming out. I'm just going to worry about sticking with the program, staying focused, right? And making sure I don't make decisions too early because I don't like the way it's coming out. Remember, we're not art critics, we're artists. So let's just create the work and let it happen, right? And that's what we have to do. So let's create the work and figure out whether it's, let other people figure out whether it's good or bad. But our job is just to create the art. We don't care whether it's good or bad. We just do our best, and that's all we have to do. And let's see. Nameless says, we don't get buried in the comment section. That's true. If there was 70 people in here, I would barely see it. It would go really fast. And Denise says the Met is currently doing Jacques Louis David. Really? So there's a Jacques Louis David exhibit? Oh wow, he's one of my favorites. Jacques Louis David. Jacques Louis David was a court painter to Napoleon, and also for Robespierre. So yeah, I mean, he was very powerful. Back in the late 1700s in France, an artist had political power because remember, there were no movies back then, and that painting was part of the main entertainment of the aristocracy. So just like movie stars are invited to the White House today, that's the way painters were back then. So yeah, he was very powerful, very influential as an artist. And I honestly, I look at that and I'm like, wow, that's amazing. And oh yes, I definitely have to go see that. Definitely. Yeah, I read a couple of books on David. Uh, you know, so here's a quick story on Jacques Louis David. He was a young man, and he was one of the better painters of his day at the École des Beaux-Arts, the fine arts school in France, right? And every year the government would give the Prix de Rome to the best art student, and they would go to Rome for like 4 years, and France would pay for them to go to Rome and to learn even further about antiquity and painting, the Roman sculptures and the Greek sculptures and everything like that. And then they would come back to France, and then they would start painting these really beautiful historical paintings, which were very big at the time. But Jacques Louis David actually got turned down and lost the Prix de Rome 4 years in a row. And in year 4, he actually tried to kill himself. So that's a little bit of information about Jacques Louis David. But then next year, thank goodness he won it, and the rest is history. But another interesting thing about Jacques Louis David, his uncle was Boucher, who, Francois Boucher, I believe his name is. He was a very important Rococo period painter, which was much lighter, painting for the aristocracy, and you know, very whimsical sort of stuff, kind of detached from reality, because you know the rich were detached from the plight of the commoners. And then Jacques Louis David, the very next generation, started doing real serious paintings, like about Roman oats and oats, Oaaths. Forgive my New York accent. And so, yeah, so you can see in art history just what 100, not even 100 years, what maybe 30 years could make a big difference in the life of an artist. Different tastes change much more rapidly than they do today. See, things change here when it comes to music, when it comes to movies. You see a big paradigm shift. But really, right now, there's not much interest in art with the masses. So you see that, you know, if there is an interest, it's more of a quirky thing, and it really doesn't last at all. Sort of without direction. Like right now, Banksy is really important, right? He's really big. The media has made Banksy more than what Banksy has made him. Banksy is a very marginally technical painter, you know. I don't consider him a rival in technique in any way. But he does have the media behind him in the art world as a whole. So let's see what I missed. Uh, let's see. We have Brad says, makes sense. Many of our politicians are con artists. That's pretty funny. And just pulling this up here. Now, Brad is over in, he's over there in Canada, Manitoba, to be Manitoba. Sorry about my accent. Some words are hard for me to say with my New York accent. Uh, really is, really difficult to say. So what I'm going to do is I built it up a little bit. So now we're going to begin to come in with the white mixture a little bit, just to play around. So we're going to get my sandpaper, dun 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 dun, and we're going to get my white pastel as soon as I locate it. Here it is, and we're going to remove with the sandpaper some of that white pastel, and then we're going to get a stump that's dedicated just, and I mean the stump is dedicated just to the white pastel. You don't want to mix white pastel with graphite. That would be totally bad. So right now I can begin with the eyes, and I'm just going to start to hit in some of the lights. Let's zoom in and I can show you all. Let's see. And you see right here, so this is something where photography comes in. See, there's two lights. So this is telling me when this was photographed that they used two lights, two light modifiers. Here is a kind of tall rectangular softbox, and then here, right here, looks like a lighter or less strong light. That was more of a fill light. So that's why you see two catch lights there. So very interesting. That's why learn photography, everybody. It's going to really make a difference in your work. Trust me. Learn that, and but you have to take it to the next level to really get it, you know. And so Denise says we need to bring real art back. Banksy is political and societal. Exactly, so true. I couldn't have said it better myself, Denise. It is. It's more of like a societal anomaly or something, right? It's what people make of it, but it's the emperor's new clothes. There's nothing behind it. And I'm sure Banksy would, if he was honest, he would say the same thing about what he's doing. And you see how I'm bringing in some of the, using the white pastel to kind of sculpt the light a little bit better. And we got to do those catch lights. And how am I going to do it? Good question. So maybe I'll try with the Fons and Porter at first and then go from there. So let's see. So we have this one right here. And then we have this smaller one right there. There we go. Like I said, if we have an understanding of the photograph, we can reproduce it much better. So understanding is everything, right? And you know, having that deep comprehension of what's happening is really going to make a huge difference in your work. And let's see. Located, thought you were going to say as soon as the cat's done with it. Oh, that's funny. And then we'll come over here and let's lighten up this little fleshy area below the eyebrow. And so we're going to work on, so once we do one eye, we want to make sure we work on the other eye. That's just keeping symmetry, right? You want to make sure that you do the eyes together so one eye doesn't look better than the other. Of course, in the shadow side, the light's going to be slightly darker. The catch lights will be slightly darker on the shadow side. There's a little bit of moisture here. Beautiful hard edge kind of rectangular form right there. And a little overzealous. Let's erase that just a tad. There we go. And then we have this light area here. Just like so. And we're just going to shape the light a little bit. Put in some of those details, right? And from far away it's going to look better, but these are just, you know, beginning on that next level, right? We're just starting that next level of detail, and we'll get there. A little bit of a light there right here. And then right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and zoom out and see how it's looking. Very cool. So now you can see we're starting to shape these lights. Let's go work on the nose, right? We're going to go down the center line of Maria here. Come up here. Okay. There we go. So you see how the light builds up right here, not too low, right here. Kind of builds up. This is what's facing the light source most directly, and then it kind of very slowly comes up here. You can use a variety of tools now. So you can use the Fons and Porter, and then you could use the white pastel with the stump, and we can go back and forth. Remember, a lot of times the shape of an object is described more by its adjacent shape than the shape itself. So the wing of the nostril, you can see, is a perfect indication. See how when I come in with the white next to it, how that really pops out now, and it's totally much more three-dimensional. That's an indication of that whole philosophy. And so we're just going to zoom out and just see how we're looking. Let's see. There we go. And little by little, we're just going to continue down this road. So remember earlier when I went ahead and lightened and made this a bit too high? I did make it a bit too high, so I'm just going to adjust. See that? And that's going to go back to... So sometimes you make an adjustment, you made it prematurely or something like that, you just fix it. So no problem, nothing we can't fix. Nothing we can't fix. Okay, so we have our white pastel, and we're going to come over here, and we're going to very lightly. So you notice you don't get too much blue shift with this gray paper and the white pastel over the ink. But I'm not going over like the fully dark ink. This is like a lighter area. So play around with it, experiment before you go into it with your artwork to really know what the ink is doing. And like any medium, you're going to learn it inside and out. And that's exactly what we're doing, learning about this inside and out. So you see, sometimes it's better to lighten up with the white pastel than the eraser. And you can see, like right here with the eye, that really is working out. And that really is playing out here, like that. And just bringing this down, like so. And so you see now, it's starting to take shape. So let me see what I'm missing here. And what's the pen you're using? Oh, this is the Fons & Porter. It is a, actually this pen, Englishman told me about this. And this pen is actually made for tailors, and it's white chalk, and it's like a 0.5 lead. There's no art supply that is made like this, so that's exactly, you know, and I have never looked back after that, which is really great. So on eBay they should sell it, Fons & Porter. If you can't find it, I have one left on my website, inkflingers.com. So if you can't find it on Amazon, you definitely can find it on my website. That's inkflingers.com. And see how we starting to shape the light now, right? Everything before, remember, we're building up on this, right? And you can see right now things are, remember the crescendo I told you about? To wait for that crescendo, it's going to come. It's starting to come, right? Just beginning. So you see now, see, if I was worried about likeness and everything too early, I would miss all those important stops and the important detail, such as slowly building up texture, right? And this is why we don't taste the cookies before you know they're done, you know, whatever allotted time at 350 degrees, right? And so we still have a long way to go. I would say at least 2 weeks or two live streams. I would say 4 more hours and we can call Ms. Maria done. But right now I'm just enjoying the process, right? So you can see how very slowly all of a sudden she was looking a certain way, and now all of a sudden she's looking much more dynamic, right? And emotional. Hey Alexis, great to see you. How are you? Oh, I'm so glad to see you. So glad you're here. And let's see. Nameless says, Tim, same question. What's Fons & Porter? Yes, this wonderful pen, which is made for tailors. So definitely. And yes, you can definitely, but I don't think it's going to come in this 0.5 format, which is really fantastic. But if you do find it, you let me know, because that would be cool. But it's a product, there's not many tailors around anymore like they used to be. But yes, so if you find, please share. And just sort of rubbing this in. And little by little, Maria's showing up. So I appreciate that. Maria, that's Maria Creeling. That's the actress. She was amazing in this war movie I seen. I forget the name of it, but that's where I seen her, and I'm like, oh, I gotta paint her. I gotta paint her. So that's what happened. And I found a picture of her, and then the rest is history. This is the live stream. And so little by little, we'll find the likeness, right? But the likeness, Maria will reveal herself. And I want you to see that. We're not looking to get the likeness. We're just letting Maria reveal herself. I know that's kind of a weird esoteric approach, but I really find that if you do all the steps correctly, right, then she will reveal herself. Same thing with color. I was talking with a student today, and we were working on color, and they were like, well, it looks too red. And I'm like, yes, we're not trying to nail the color right away. We're going to arrive at the color. So you're just going to do a guesstimate and then slowly build up until you get to that color. And it's like trusting the process, right? We have to trust that process. It's so important, because if we don't trust the process, it's going to be anarchy, right? We're not going to have a consistent approach to our paintings, and we're not going to have consistent results. So it's important to have a consistency in our approach to painting. It's so important. I can't stress it enough. And let's see what I missed. Oh, Denise says, pen looks good. I love all the basic tools you taught me. Yes, definitely. The stump and everything. Hey there, Mr. Todd. How's work over there in San Francisco? No, San Diego. So I'm sure everything is, the weather-wise is beautiful in San Diego. We're in New York, so we have a rather interesting weather. It's nice, and then it's disaster. It's nice, and then it's disaster. So, but right now we've been having a stretch of beautiful weather, haven't we, here in New York? Let me just come over here. Then we have to soften things up. Right here, bringing this light right on the edge. So you see we have a lot of work to do, but we can start to see, like, okay, things are really starting to take shape, which I'm very happy with. I'm going to come in, and we can always come in with our detail mixture, and we could work on softening some of these midtones here and bringing back some of these shapes. So it's definitely working around, bouncing. So there wasn't many people here today, but that's okay. The people who were supposed to be here were here, and that's all that matters. Those who are watching this on tape delay or watching this after the live stream, go ahead and hit that like button and the subscribe button. This way you'll know when new videos are coming out, not just live streams, but I also do videos, which is really, really important, right? So, and let's see. So definitely. So we're at the 11:28 mark, 2 minutes. Last week was one of the first times I left early. I had to go to the bathroom really bad. I was like, oh no, I'm not going to make it till 11:30. That's exactly what happened last week, and that wasn't good. I made it though, made it in time, but it was touch and go. There we go. So Maria, when we come back, we're going to put those highlights in her lips. We're going to work on the hair, kind of establish some of the lights in here. Remember, even though it's in shadow, doesn't mean there's not information in the shadows. Remember, if you have a large softbox, the light is going to wrap around the form, and it's going to hit some of these shadows, and you're going to get detail in those shadows. So remember that. That's where the realism comes from, is a profound knowledge of what you're painting. A knowledge that is not common of the three-dimensional world. So that's what we have to look for always in our work, right? Always, always. That's how we get to that next layer of intrigue in our painting. In anything we do, the more we delve into it, the more the subject will reveal her knowledge. And Beethoven said that, and I think that is so interesting. So yeah, this live stream went really well. I really appreciate it. We had a lot of people come early, leave early, come late, stay a little bit. So we had a nice bit of traffic. Not as much as usual, but that's okay, you know. I did put up the thumbnails a little bit later, so I think people seen it and didn't get the the post as early. So that's probably what happened, but that's all right. Like I said, the people who were supposed to be here were here, and that's all that matters. And you see how we're building up the light. And this is the crescendo I was mentioning earlier. So you see, it's not just light and shadow, right? There's things going on having to do with her anatomy having to do with how slow the forms are turning, all those different things. And that's what we're going to concentrate on. And as we go further and further along, we're going to deepen the shadows. We're going to make the lights even brighter. We're going to bring in some of those highlights, and things are really going to work out. So this is Maria so far, and if Maria could see it, I hope she likes it. Of course, no celebrities have seen my work just yet that I know of. Who knows? One day, right? Be cool if Maria would say, "Hey, Tim, I like it. Thanks." That would be cool. So it is 11:32. So take care, everybody. Thank you so much, Brad and Willie and Nameless and Denise and Alex and Craig and Tone, Air Todd. Those who made it, I don't know if you're here, Mr. John Diekman. Let's see. So I'm glad you're here, Tone. Always a pleasure. And let's see. I think that's everybody who was here. Thank you, Brad. Thank you, Honey, for the super chat. Makes a big difference. Thanks for stopping by, Steve. So next week, really cool. So we did pretty good today. Slowly but surely. We're in no rush, right? We're going to go ahead and we're going to go with part 6. And I think we're going to go up to part 7. So I hope everyone has a great rest of the week, a great weekend. Thank you so much, Paul. Thanks, Sam. You guys are great. Thanks for spending Wednesday night to me. It's an honor for me and a privilege. And I hope you all have a great week. Take care.